Hi again, back for another video of quarantine self-care. Today we're gonna do a leg self-massage. We'll get right into it. So I will be doing an additional video next week for partner self-massage, so that you can kind of do some foot massage for whoever you are quarantined with. And I'll be working on my father for that. But this one is just do-it-yourself leg massage. We're going to do a little bit of hip work all the way down into the foot. So the materials that I have for today that you can use if you prefer. I do have the ball. That's going to be good for the hip that we're going to be doing. And then I have the rolling pin, which you can use your soup can, your pool noodle, or anything else you have that kind of does some rolling. And I also have a strap. So you could also use your towel for that. This is it's not a yoga strap, it's a stretch it out strap. It's for my orthopedic work. I'm sure if you have been to Carla or any other physical therapy, you have seen one of these before. So I'm going to show a couple of stretches with this today. And again, if you don't have something similar to this, then you can just use a towel. And then lastly, I have a little bit of lotion. You can use this if you want to do it directly on the skin. You don't have to. We're not doing anything that's going to be too vigorous. That's going to be like causing a lot of friction. And if you choose, you can also do it just over your clothes. So I also brought the magnesium cream just because magnesium is really great for these calves that tend to get tight and cramped. So if you suffer from cramps at night and you have any magnesium, this is just a suggestion to kind of bring it to the next level. All right, so we'll get right into it. All right, so we're gonna start from the hip down. So we're just gonna do a little bit of hip work to show you kind of what I was going over in one of the first videos with the ball, and then just a couple additional techniques that you can do. So we're gonna take the ball first, and you're gonna put it right under your hip. It's gonna be in your piriformis muscle. You should feel it really kind of right underneath the ball. So from there, you're going to straighten out your legs. And with the ball underneath, I know you can't really see it, but you're going to move your leg in and out. If you can see, I'm moving my leg in and out. And you'll feel that right in the piriformis muscle. So that's just a good way to get those hip flexors. You can roll the ball around if you want. You know, if you have the balancing skills to do so. You can roll it up a little bit. If you want at this point, you can even go into your lower back. But to save time, we're not going to do that. Okay, then from there, if you have any pain on the outside of your hip, which I know a lot of you do, you're going to kind of lean over to the side so that the ball is situated like right in here on the side of your hip. That's your TFL muscle, you know. Your IT band is also attached there, even though again, IT band is not a muscle. It is a thick band of fascia, but it might as well be a muscle since it's so important. So what I'm doing is now the ball is right in that spot, and I am twisting my body and coming down towards the floor. Legs are straight, they're not crossed or anything. and then you can feel it right in your hip. If you have a tight hip, you should feel it kind of down your leg as well. So that's good for your hip. The last hip thing that we'll do is for more the inner hip. You want to bend your knee at a 90-degree angle and just take the pads of your fingers and kind of get right in the hip bone area. It's basically right above and right below the actual bone of the hip. And I'm just doing like small circles, even up until where the ball was, up and around the hip bone. Going to like mid thigh. Some people, they do have them like in the groin, right in the butt where the glutes meet your hamstrings. So if you have that, you can rock. But that will at least help to get a little bit of those inner hip flexors and your adductors. So then we're going to stretch by just pushing your knee out. And then stretch your adductors by just kind of trying to do a split. All right. So from there, we're going to go right into the upper leg, the thighs, the quads, and the hamstrings. So what we will do to warm up is just a little bit of compression. So just take your palms kind of like this and push down. Push down, push down, push down. Do the same, but now you're pushing up. Rocking a little bit. Okay. From there, just because I have that rolled up, so I'm doing this kind of movement, pushing down on the quads and up on the hamstrings, down on the quads, up on the hamstrings, down on the quads, up on the hamstrings. All the way up to your hip. Up, down, up, down. From there, you can take your fists, circular motions up and down. All right. And again, you can do this in threes. You can do it more than threes. It's really up to your preference. If some techniques feel better than others, you can do those more. So now what I'm doing is a little bit of petrissage, as it's called. And again, if you prefer to do this in your own home without pants or wearing shorts, you're more than welcome to use a lotion for this, but don't use a lot. Use very, very little, like a dime size. But you can do all these techniques without lotion as well. So this is petrissage. You're basically like kneading dough. And then you want to get the underside. So again, you're kind of grabbing. And now I'm pulling apart again. And then from here, you're going to take the palms of your hands, these parts, and rest it right on the side. And now you're going to hyperextend your wrist a little bit, but unfortunately, just because of what you're doing, that's not really possible to avoid. So just be conscious if your wrist hurts, don't do it, or modify, or just work on a different technique. All right, so the palms up and down the sides of the legs. All right. Now that's good for the upper leg. If you have your roller, you could do some long rolling strokes, get into the inner thigh. That's another thing you can, to make sure that you're getting these adductors in there, the muscles in your inner thigh. Let's see, switch there. You want to do some compression there. You can do some petrissage, sitting in a figure four, petrissage. If you want to do even the hip work in this figure four, you can do that too. It might actually get into some of those muscles a little bit better. If you want to lay down doing it too, you can. Making sure you get into the entire hip girdle area. But yeah, you just want to make sure that you're getting your adductors and your abductors on the, outside of your leg, as well as, everything in your hamstrings and your quads. Just make sure you're getting everything. Okay, from there, let's go on to the lower leg. So again, you can do this either over your clothes or without. Just to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to do it directly on the skin. And I have my lotion in case I need it. Okay, so for the ball as well. I was going to say for the upper leg, you can use your ball too. If you can see kind of in the bottom of the screen, if you can roll yourself back and forth with the ball or the can of soup, whatever you have, that would work. It has a little bit of rolling power. And that kind of gets up in there too. And then you can do the same. If you want, if you find like a tender spot, you can hang out in there. You can kind of turn your foot out if you find one. Sometimes that intensifies it. All right, and now for some self massage techniques. So we'll start with the knee. Sorry for my text message. Okay, so for the knee, what we're gonna do is just a little bit of work. You can take your thumbs, put them together like this, and this one's gonna be hard to show, but I'm just kind of going around the perimeter of the knee with my thumbs, or you can use your forefinger, your middle finger, or whatever is comfortable for you, and just kind of doing a little bit of friction. Not totally in circular motions, though you can do circular motions. I'm doing more back and forth. So for anybody who has knee problems, You know, you can also go right in these two divots and then straighten your knee out a little bit. You know, if you find a little patch of crunchiness, you know, it's a little bit of scar tissue or adhesions, you know, you can kind of hang out in that spot and straighten your leg twice. You can do it right onto the floor. You don't need to hold it up in the air because that may actually be less beneficial. Okay, and then, you know, you can go right on the side of the tibialis bone, and or the tibia bone, I should say, and just go on each side. Do little circles. All right, so now into the calf and the shin. This is gonna be pretty much the same sort of techniques for the thigh, at least for the calf. So you're gonna do some stripping up, kind of doing like this with your hands. So your middle fingers are coming up in the middle of your calf. There is a good nerve in the back that runs through under the soleus. So don't be extremely aggressive, but you can put a good amount of pressure. If you want to do some assisted work, you can straighten your leg while you're doing that movement, which will kind of just guide your hands all on itself without you kind of putting any sort of like heavy pressure on your hands. Then the same with the palms on the sides of your shin. So they're getting the calf muscles, but they're also getting like your peroneus longus and your tibialis anterior, and, you know, some additional muscles that are actually more on the shin and the anterior part of the body. But still taking the palm part of your hand and just doing circles up and down. Obviously, the closer to the ankle you get, the bonier and less like meat there is. So if you don't want to do your palms, you can switch right about here, right above the ankle, and use your fingers and go down. Go around your lateral medialis, your ankle bone. You can usually find some good crunchies around here, especially if someone like me who has fractured and sprained both ankles due to soccer and just being a klutz. And then you also want to make sure you get your Achilles. I know a couple of you really have not bad, but troublesome Achilles. So I'm doing, again, circles right around the Achilles tendon. And then this would be a good time to get just a little bit of lotion. Again, just a tiny amount to give you a little bit of glide so that you can go up on either side of your Achilles tendon. Like that. You can get your entire ankle up in the front in circles. Circles are very popular in massage if you haven't noticed already. Again, if you find a tender spot, you can hang out there for a little bit. You can do a little rocking back and forth. Don't do anything too crazy, but yeah, you can definitely just try to break that up a little bit by doing a little bit of cross fiber friction or multi-directional friction. That's even better, where you're going in all directions. Since most people do not know what directions the muscle fibers are running, unless you have a medical background or an anatomy background. All right, so you're getting all of that. You want to get your peroneus longus muscle, especially if you're a runner or do a lot of biking, or if you're active. If you got shin splints, that's more tibialis anterior, but peroneus definitely also plays a factor. So it's right here. It's below your knee, obviously, and it's kind of like right in this divot. You will feel it if you have a trigger point there. It's pretty painful. So if you want, you can hang out there. Then you can straighten your leg and move your leg back and forth. Again. Mind you, it's actually not your entire leg. You're actually just moving your foot in and out. So we'll show a stretch with that too. Actually, let's go through the foot, and then I will show some additional stretches to close out. All right, so for the foot, to do your own self-foot massage, it's easier for me to do it in like figure 4 or kind of like Indian style, but not completely Indian style. Sort of like you're going to do this stretch, which is a good one as well. That wasn't on my list, but that's another good one for your adductors if you want to do that. So yeah, to show you especially. Okay. So I start by just doing, again, a lot of circles. And I'm doing this with socks on to show that you can do this with or without socks. Again, it might feel a little bit better if you do it with the lotion on the bare skin, but you don't have to. So circles, just getting the entire perimeter of the bottom of the foot. And then kind of what I showed 2 weeks ago with the hand massage with doing this movement, you're going to do the same for the entire foot. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, up. And it's really good up by the toes. You can get in between every digit in those metatarsals. Okay. You want to do a little rotation of the toe. If you don't have socks on, I'll just show it real quick. I have bunions, so if you do, they are terrible, I know. So you can actually, even if you don't have them, you can kind of try to pull your feet apart. It just feels really good to do all of them. If you've been in shoes all day, for the healthcare workers, you've been on those concrete floors, or anybody who's really been in any sort of warehouse or factory setting. Yeah, so you want to kind of pull your toes apart, kind of stretch them out, and then you can go in between each toe and do a little stripping. So, I guess now that I have my sock off, I'll finish without it on. So now I'm just doing a little stripping up the foot. I need a little lotion. Like mine was pea-sized. That's literally all you need. If it dries up, then you can apply more, but you really don't need a ton. Alright, so that's some good self-massage techniques for your foot. One other good one. A lot of people, especially if you have like plantar fasciitis, or again, if you're standing all day, tend to have a really good knot right in the middle of the foot, right in the arch. Let's see. It's right about here. Mine is like right above the heel. So that tends to be a really, really tender spot. So what I like to do is, again, take my thumb, do the circles, just hang out there, or I'll take this knuckle, or yeah, it's pretty much this knuckle and then this padded part, and dig right in there. And that can be painful. I'm sure if you have this tender spot in your foot, you've felt it, either during a massage or on a regular basis. And it tends to be a little crunchy in there, which is fine. You know, that's part of it breaking up. But you really want to make sure you pay attention to that spot, especially if you know that you have it there, and you have that tenderness there, because that is probably the number one complaint that I see with people who have some foot pain. This is usually the top area that is bothering people. So make sure you really get in there good. Do a lot of circles. Like I said, take those knuckles, dig in there, take the ball, roll right on top of it. You know, if you have your pen that we showed, you know, you could take that and dig it in there a little bit. But, you know, only do it for an appropriate amount. 5 minutes max, I would say. You know, you could probably get through this entire routine in 10 to 15 minutes if you so choose to. Some people could do it quicker, and others may try to extend it out. So that's what we've got for the foot. If you want to do the top of the foot, which doesn't bother as many people, but you could get right in between the metatarsals. And strip in between the toes. You know, make sure you get the front of the ankle again. And there's your leg massage. All right, so let's go over just a couple of stretches, and that will be it. One last thing I wanted to note before the stretching actually is if you wanted to do any psoas work for those who have really tight psoases and allow me to torture them with this work, you can take a yoga block or something else that is similar that has a little bit of a stiffness to it and also has a corner. And what you'll do to work your psoas, other than, kind of what we were doing a little bit in there, that wasn't really targeting that. Let's see if I can do this gracefully. So you want to make sure that the edge, your hip bone, is lined up with the corner of the block or a book or whatever you have to use. And gently, again, if you can do it gracefully, better than me, great. Lower yourself right on the block slowly. Slowly is the key. And that corner, while it's not getting extremely deep, is still able to get into those deep hip rotators. You can just sit there for a minute or two. And if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper by just lowering your body on it a little bit more. If you want, you can even get more on top of it and then lower yourself. But that just helps to get into your psoas. All right, so now we'll do some stretches. We're gonna do a little bit of hip. We'll do the quads and the hamstrings and the soleus and the gastrocnemius. And those are your calf muscles. And then that's it. All right, so again, using either the towel or the strap, whichever you have available, we will start with the peroneus longus muscle, which is this muscle on the outside of your lower leg. So you're going to take your strap or your towel. If you don't see how with the strap my foot is in the loop, but if you just have a towel, just make sure that your foot is secured in the towel. You can also use a rope or a belt or anything else that you have. So you're going to put your foot straight up in the air. I don't know where my iPad is cutting off while I'm doing this, so I hope everybody can see the full extent of what I am doing. The leg is fully up, and now all you're going to do is turn your foot inward. Let me see if I can back up. So your foot is neutral, and you're turning it in towards the rest of your body. And you should feel the stretch right up here, down the side of your leg, down into the ankle. From there, we'll go right into the hamstrings. You're going to hold each stretch for about, I'd say no longer than 10 seconds. I tend to only hold them for 2 to 3 seconds. But, you could do 10 seconds and or 2 to 3 reps of 3 to 5 second long stretches. So and then we'll do the hamstrings, which is basically taking that towel or rope and just bringing your leg back towards you. 1, 2, 3, relax. to 1003. With each stretch, you can go a little bit deeper, making sure that you are also paying attention to your breath. Inhale with the stretch, exhale with the release, releasing slowly out of the stretch as well. All right, now we're going to go into, this is really just for the low back mostly. I'm going to move up a little bit and wiggle worm. Bringing straight up. So it's almost like we're doing a curl, the exercise curl, but bring our leg 1002, 1003, lowering. All right, from there, we're also going to do the hip flexors and rotators. So you're using your strap or your blanket or your towel to bring this foot over center, and you're holding the strap with your opposite hand. 1002, 1003. You can do this again for the adductors where you just kind of spread out. Like a split. The glutes, again, holding with the opposite hand of the leg that you're stretching and bringing, again, doing like almost a bicep curl, bringing the strap to the shoulder. It's the opposite shoulder from the leg that you're stretching. It's the same shoulder that you're holding the strap with. So up, so that you're kind of doing that figure four. That's stretching your glutes. Again, you could do deeper stretch. Then to do piriformis, you're crossing over a little bit more this way, not in the figure four, but just crossing it across the body and then pulling up to the opposite. Pretty much in the same way that you were doing the glutes. But this is a little bit over the body. Now you could just, do it without the strap this way too. Okay, what else do we have for that? So now we'll do the soleus and the gastroc. All right, so pretty much the soleus sits right under the gastrocnemius muscle. So they're more or less one and the same. The only difference in the way that you stretch this muscle is your knee is bent for the soleus and it's straight for the gastrocnemius. So you'll take your strap again or your towel, and for the gastrocnemius, we're going to do a little bit of contract and then stretch. So this sometimes helps to get the muscle a little bit better. It's more of an orthopedic technique. So what you do first is you're going to bend your foot towards the floor. Hold that for 3 to 5. Then you release and pull back. Don't lift your foot off. Don't be like me. Yeah, so find a position to where you can actually pull your foot up towards the rest of your body without taking this much of distance from the ground. You know, if there's this little bit of space right here, that's okay. But and then hold that and relax. Again, hold, point your toe down for 3 to 5. Relax. Re-get the tension on the strap and pull. Soleus, same thing, except your knee is bent and my strap is tangled. So, again, down towards the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up towards the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax. All right, again, gastrocnemius is knee straight, soleus, knee bent. You can also do this stretch along the wall where you are kind of, I'm sure most people know this stretch, where you kind of dig your foot up against the wall and lean forward. I'm not going to show that on the video. It's much too hard to do, but I can find and share a different video with you if you need it. So the last one that we'll do is the quads. So I'm going to turn over for that one. It might be easier first actually to put your strap around your foot. And just for demonstrations, I'm going to do it on the right side. So basically, you're going to have your towel. It might be better to have like a bigger towel or a blanket maybe for this one, just to make sure you have enough length to get around. So you want to loop it, and then you're simply just pulling over your shoulder. Over the same shoulder of the leg that you're stretching. Hold that. Yep, and that's your quads. Sometimes, depending, you might get a little bit up into the hip and low back as well. You can do a deeper stretch by lifting your leg up and getting your quads a little bit better. And then relax. Okay, so there you have it. There's the lower leg through the foot, some good self-massage as well as some stretching. Next week we will go over partner self-massage for the foot. We will see, maybe I can throw in a couple extra techniques, whether it's for the back or the neck or something else that you can do for whoever you are quarantined with. I hope to have some updates about when I should be reopening soon, although unfortunately at this point it doesn't look like it's going to be for another month or so at the very least. I can't do anything until May 9th, so we may give it a couple extra weeks after that just to kind of see where everything falls in line. Of course, I will keep everybody updated as things progress and I know more. Of course, as well, if you have any questions about any of these videos, the techniques that were shown, or just anything in general, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I've said this numerous times, but I am here for you if you need it. Other than that, I hope you are keeping positive and trying to keep your head up, trying to keep busy and managing whatever aches and pains you do have. I hope you are finding some relief from these videos and have a great week. Thanks so much, guys.